Okay, good morning, folks. This is Brand's Log 7/11/2020. It's Saturday morning. I'm feeling pretty mellow. Just finished my meditation. Kind of chilled out, which was nice. Kind of reaching out to the ether and perhaps seeking a little guidance. Not that I'm a deity worshiper or anything like that, but I definitely do think that there is something out there that's like much greater than all of us, whether or not, whatever you call it, whether or not you deify it or call it the spirit of the universe or call it the force, which I'm sometimes apt to do just because I'm a nerd. um, but so I feel pretty good, pretty mellow. It's rolling closer to 10:30 in the morning, and got the weekend ahead of me. Hopefully, all of you are going to enjoy your weekends too. So, just got a lot to think about recently with everything going on in the world, and I find myself obsessing about it more than what perhaps a normal person does. I'm not saying should, because right now, I strongly believe we're in a state in history that's very, very critical, and it's not what most people seem to think it is. We are definitely at a massive turning point, but we're also at a massive turning point for the negative, for the downward spiral of essentially a civilization. And if something's not done really soon, there's going to be dominoes set in motion that really not just destroy the US, but destroy the entire progress driven society that we've had. Now, I'm not saying progressive, because progressive is the political term normally used for people who just want constant, never ending change. And change is a great thing when it's needed. But a lot of the time it's not needed. So this is it's more it ends up being more like cancer, a cancerous growth versus actual evolution, actual positive adaptation. So, but we're kind of at this point where we have people who, I think in their normal daily lives, I think a lot of it is they simply lack focus and purpose. I mean, a real purpose. Many of them get out of school, go to college, some don't, but they live their lives in pursuit of, you know, fame and fortune, money, power. And these are actually very hollow pursuits for the human soul, because in reality, money doesn't exist. It is the biggest religion in the world. But so they're like most of us, constantly searching for purpose in our lives and fulfillment. And right now, they're using a placebo of being anti anything that exists right now. It's kind of like people who are locked in a cabin for too long, even with their friends. You know, human beings need to put energy outside of them, need to be extroverted in their attentions. They need to build and create and quest. They need to have a purpose. And right now in our society, we do very, pardon my language, shitty job of providing any sort of purpose for human beings. So we've got entire generations of people, which actually rolls back a lot to my generations and other ones. At that time, this isn't something new. It's just gotten even worse right now in the last 2 decades. But you got this giant swath of humanity that really has no real purpose to dig into. So right now, a huge portion of it is digging into the idea of destroying what we have now because it's evil. But they don't realize that they're just destroying the foundations under their own house because they're freaking bored. They have no purpose in their lives. Their lives are actually hollow and shallow. And this is why they have such problems with depression and other issues connecting with other human beings. So right now we have this tremendous wave of people who, for lack of any focus and purpose, true frontier purpose in their lives, are going to tear down what's already here if it's not fought against, if nobody rises up to stop them. And that's something you learn in group dynamics, is if you, even as an individual, but whether or not it's one person, a small group of people, a large group of people, or even a nation, you have to stay focused on a purpose, on an external goal. And really that's the best way to do it, is an external goal, a purpose, a mission. You know, way back when it was like, well, obviously it was going to the new world. There was always room to expand and grow, and then it was going west after the continent was discovered, and it was discovering new things. There was always new frontiers. There was always new places to push humanity. And now we've kind of hit this point where we're at the edge of our fishbowl. You know, we've like expanded, boom, and stopped. Kind of like ancient Rome did. And then you stop, and your people don't have that continued, you know, frontier, that focus, that external focus. So human beings have a lot of energy. And so what we end up doing is we end up turning that energy in on ourselves, in on each other. It's like when you find yourself in an argument, or you see people who like kind of pick fights, even with their significant other, the people they love, their friends, their family, and apparently for no reason at all. And in a lot of cases, it's not the actual issue they're talking about. It's simply the fact is they're not meeting that human need to like actually do something purposeful, meaningful outside themselves. They lack that external focus, that external purpose. And so that's why, you know, they talk about cabin fever. It's not just when you're alone, especially when you're with other people. You will start abusing each other. You will start aggressing against others, even the people you love, if you don't have a direction to vent that natural human tendency to aggress. We all aggress. We'll get into that at some other point. But we all have this energy that we have to be doing something important, purposeful. We aggress. We move against things, against problems. That's how we're built. That's how we even got here into a civilized nation or world, from being, you know, stick throwers. Is we always have this need, this innate genetically programmed prime directive to find things, adversities, obstacles, and overcome them. So back to what I was saying, is that right now we have generations of people who have had no real focus and purpose, and the distractions of media, you know, like they say in Rome, said in Rome, you know, bread and circuses. Give the mob bread and circuses, meaning give them food and distraction, and they'll be okay. And that's true. You can actually control the mob with enough media and stimulus, and, you know, not just giving them food, but particular types of food to dull their senses. But that's another story entirely. But point is that the bread and circuses of our time are not actually giving them any focus. And here in the U.S., we've got hundreds of millions of people, and many of them, even successful ones, have no actual purpose in their lives. No fulfillment, no like actual sense that they actually meant something, that their lives mean something. So right now we've got a lot of people, particularly younger generations and people who haven't achieved things or have been sold a lie that somehow they're deficient and that they can't achieve the things until they take everybody else down. These Everybody's grabbing onto this idea and vilifying the very structures that hold them up, that have created this wonderful environment, these pillars, this foundation. And so you've got this whole generation of people who are more than happy to embrace an ideology to tear down what we have. But that's because A, they know no better. They have chosen, some people are ignorant. And I don't mean ignorant as that's an insult. It means they are ignorant of facts. They are unknowledgeable. And that's something that I can understand somewhat. Sometimes people are, unfortunately nowadays, despite having infinite hours to Netflix and to play video games and to distract yourself with other people's doings and social media, people don't seem to be able to have the time to actually educate themselves outside of what they were told to learn at a high school or university. Unlike our founding fathers who spent all their time learning, 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 because they understood that that was what created real leverage, real personal power. So we've got so many people who are willing to now, in order to express their natural human genetic tendency to aggress, they will aggress against the very walls of their own houses. They will aggress against their own people. They will aggress against everything that's good that has created the world that they live in. That even gives them the opportunities to aggress against those establishments. And it's odd that they don't recognize that. Is that without those things, their freedoms, their ability to actually destroy those things wouldn't even exist. So I sit here with a bit of anxiety, I guess you might say, and it's not really even anxiety. It's just playing all the chess moves in your head. Playing all the pieces on the board 7 moves ahead and seeing where things can go and where they will likely go. And you end up seeing that if we don't head things off really fast, we're going to head into open conflict with our own people. And because our own people are being grossly manipulated by a group of people who don't care. They don't really care what they have to do, who they have to sacrifice in order to get more power. Because they are so haughty, so arrogant to think that they know better. Not just know better how to run the country. No, they know better how to run your life. They know exactly what you need to think. They know how you need to act. And they're more than willing to sacrifice, not their own, but your life and other people's lives in order to try and secure their power. It's really unfortunate, and we've seen it in politics and other things in this last decade, is people being willing to go to any length, any dishonorable length, to attack another human being. When they can't beat them on the actual issues, what are they going to do? They act like petulant children, throw insults, and attack people. And nowadays, the problem is it's so prevalent that is the new language that people understand. And even if you're a good person, I mean, I saw plenty of people in the debates, Andrew Yang and other people, highly intelligent, courteous, presumably honorable human beings, act in a manner where they would try to have intelligent, logical discussion with people who are just simply inferior to them as far as their intellectual capabilities and ability to reason, ability to discuss things. But they were drowned out because there's so much vitriol You could be just the crappiest human being to another person, and you win the debate. Not because of the logic, not because of the arguments you bring, but just because you're a crappy human being. And now we make it so our politicians have to be crappy human beings. If they don't fight back like that, then they're weak. So, in any case, we're kind of sitting here at a point where we're going to lead to violence, open conflict between citizens of this country. And so much of it's going to be because our leaders are manipulating. And I'm not even going to say it's on both sides. One side right now benefits off of destruction, off of chaos, off of violence, off of dead bodies. The other side, the bad man in the White House, he doesn't benefit off of a crashed economy, doesn't benefit off of protests, doesn't benefit off of riots, doesn't benefit off of people getting shot and killed, doesn't benefit off of, police violence, doesn't benefit off of mayors and other people promoting police violence and disbanding, and defunding police departments. Who benefits from that? It's the same people who are manipulating the crowds. Now, the issue I have about the crowds is we become so weak in the fabric of our society that we do not encourage people to think for themselves, to actually research. So it's super easy for these puppet masters to manipulate and to convince the huge numbers of people to believe something that's simply factually not true. If you take the time, if you take 15 minutes a day and just read every article you see, every sensational thing that comes up, that and drill down to try to find the truth of it. Look at opposite opinions. And if you can't be bothered to do that, then you are just a puppet. Do you want to be a puppet? I don't think you do. But a lot of times it's easier. As long as you can go through life and stuff your face with food and watch your videos and then feel good about yourself, either protesting or changing your profile picture to match some other cause, you're good, right? But that's not fulfillment, and that's not purpose, and that's actually not truth. And that's what we need to get to, is truth. Unfortunately, there's too many people, and it's on the blue side. Sorry. There's plenty of crazies on the red side, but the blue side, the blue pill folks, they don't care how many people die as long as they can get power. And it's not power to do good for the country. It's power to control you and your everyday life and everything you think, everything you write. If it doesn't go along with their narrative, you will be attacked. That's what's going on right now. Do we anticipate that if they completely dominate the government, that's not going to continue? No. The reality is we're faced with, and it sucks to say, an opponent. Americans should not be opponents to each other, but we're faced with an opponent who doesn't give a damn about you or me or really the country, as long as they get the ball and they get to make all the rules. And if they get it and everything goes to crap and is destroyed, as it has every time in history when people like this have gotten in control, will oops be okay? Will that be enough to make up for the shattered lives, the millions of dead, the destroyed economy? And no, it's not okay to say, well, I'm sorry. It's not okay. You don't give a child a loaded weapon and get to say, oops, I'm sorry afterwards when somebody gets killed. It's not okay. So that's kind of where I'm at this Saturday, is contemplating a lot on the future. And unfortunately, the idea that we're going to have to be going head to head, the people are going to have to be going head to head, because I'm going to say it, asshat leaders, manipulators, liars, who are trying to drive a mass of citizens who can't be bothered to research anything, who are so hollow inside that they're just desperate to clutch to any level of meaning, any purpose in their lives, because we failed to help and give them lives, give them purpose. That is all of our fault. We're all distracted and too self-obsessed. So now we may end up fighting our brothers and sisters over something that should have never been fought over. Okay. Well, I hope you have a great Saturday. I know I will. I got to do a little working out here, try to take down my fat self, and try to be productive today. I'll see you guys later. Hasta.